Welcome back to the Lobositz Project. In today's episode, we will be discussing Austria's Erzherzog Joseph Dragoon Regiment. The decree to raise recruits for this new regiment was received in December 1688. The regiment was active during the War of the Spanish Succession and shortly afterwards in campaigns against the Ottomans. The War of the Polish Succession in the 1730s found the regiment actively involved in the Italian campaigns, and at the conclusion of that conflict, campaigning against the Ottomans again in the late 1730s. During the War of the Austrian Succession, the regiment fought at Lobositz, suffering 3 officers and 18 troopers killed, 6 officers and 35 troopers wounded. In 1742, it took part in the Siege of Prague. 1743 found the regiment campaigning in Bavaria and along the Rhine in early 1744, but was transferred to Bohemia by the end of the year. The regiment suffered heavy losses at the Battle of Hohenfriedberg in 1745 while protecting the Austrian retreat. The regiment again found itself protecting the army's retreat at the Battle of Seward. From 1746, the regiment campaigned in the Netherlands. At the start of the 7 Years' War, the regiment marched with Browne's army to relieve the Saxons besieged at Pirna. The regiment was assigned to the right wing for the Battle of Lobositz, but due to the nature of the terrain, found itself deployed in the center of the army. The regiment was heavily engaged with Prussian cavalry and was in the process of being driven back before being relieved by supporting cavalry. During the course of the fight, 6 troopers were killed in action. All 3 staff officers were wounded, along with 54 troopers, 29 of whom would later die in the hospital. The regiment was under strength at the Battle of Prague in 1757 due to a few squadrons being sent into the city to gather forage and supplies. After the collapse of the Austrian army, only 26 officers and 215 troopers made it back to the walls of the fortress to join the others that had already been sent there. At the Battle of Breslau, the regiment took 7 Prussian officers and over 100 men prisoner and captured 2 colors. Throughout the course of the battle, it only lost 3 men killed and 1 officer and 6 men wounded. At Leuthen in December, the regiment acted as a rearguard covering the retreat. The regiment lost 1 trooper and 8 horses killed, the colonel seriously wounded, and 12 dragoons wounded and 55 missing. In 1758, the regiment actively campaigned, taking part in numerous smaller actions and combats, most of them resulting in success for the Austrians. The regiment was an active participant at the Battle of Hochkirch in October. Throughout the year, all Austrian cavalry regiments received an additional reserve company. The regiment spent the first half of 1759 at camp near Schurz. It took part in the combat of Sarau in September. In December, the regiment found itself reviewed in Bohemia, where it counted 990 men and 920 horses. By July of 1760, the regiment consisted of only 4 incomplete squadrons. In combat against overwhelming numbers in August, the regiment was practically eliminated, with only the Grenadier Company surviving because it was located elsewhere. The surviving officers and dragoons returned to Vienna to start reorganizing the regiment. Orders were received to transfer men and officers from all other regiments to rebuild it. The reorganization and rebuilding of the regiment was not complete until March 1761. The regiment then marched to Glatz and took part in a combat near Wallstatt in August. The regiment distinguished itself at the Battle of Reichenbach in 1762. It resisted Prussian assaults for over 2 hours before retiring in good order. Sources disagree as to its outcome. Some say the regiment was nearly wiped out, while others say only 6 officers and 117 dragoons were casualties. This was the last combat of the 7 Years' War for the regiment. The Erzherzog Joseph Regiment was the last imperial unit to leave Silesia at the conclusion of the war in 1763. It marched to Bohemia and then to Hungary by April for garrison duties. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to subscribe to be notified of future Lobositz Project videos.